Welcome, everybody. Very privileged that Hong Kong Baptist U, we are hosting this Global Virtual Exchange Summit 2024. As we are going to have another keynote speech of today, I would like to extend a warm welcome to all of you joining us today for this special time. And we are also co-organized by Research Management Office and the Virtual Exchange Center from School of Continuing Education, Hong Kong Baptist U. This summit aims to provide this dynamic forum of the exchange of insight, exemplary approaches, and any innovative research in the realm of virtual exchange. It seems that we all aim to foster collaboration and share the knowledge among all our educators, dedicated practitioners, and administrators worldwide who are deeply committed to enriching teaching, learning through this virtual exchange. Now, our summit this year places particular emphasis on the theme of cultural exchange and global citizenship, and we are very privileged to have all of you joining. So let me introduce our keynote speech coming up, and it will be on the topic of how to design COIL courses from the scratch. And oh, by the way, my name is Alice Wong. I represent the Global Virtual Exchange Summit Organizing Committee to honorarily invite Professor Jun Hyun to share insights. And before we start, I would like to at least remind everybody that we encourage your participation by putting in your question in the Q&A box, and we will have a designated time to talk about a Q&A segment after the keynote speech for about another 10 minutes at the end, okay? So please note this session will be recorded and uploaded to YouTube, as I said earlier, so kindly mute your microphone during the session. And now, please allow me to introduce Professor Hong to you. Professor Hong is the professor of School of Public Service, Chung An University in Seoul, Korea. He is also jointly appointed to the Department of Smart Cities of Graduate School. Previously, he was Vice President for International Affairs, Dean of Institute of International Education, Associate Dean of Graduate School, and Director of Institute of Policy and Public Administration. For global engagement, Professor Hong used to be a joint graduate faculty of Cleveland State University and a visiting scholar for University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. Besides the university positions, he has served as numerous members of presidential committees, including National Education Commission and policy advisor to various central government ministries, including Ministry of Education and Ministry of Interior and Safety, as well as local governments. Due to his continuous public services, he was awarded the President's Service Merit Medal and Prime Minister Citation and Minister of Interior Citation, a Safety Citation. He was also selected one of the Outstanding Research Performance Awardees by the Ministry of Education and by Korea Research Foundation. Professor Hong received his PhD in Public Policy Research and Analysis from University of Pittsburgh in 1995, an MPA and PA in Western History from Seoul National University in 1990 and 1987, respectively. Two of his relevant publications with today's theme are Landscape of Transnational Education in Korea, Challenges and Opportunities Funded by British Council, and Global COIL Initiative Support Plan funded by Korea Ministry of Education. So for today's keynote speech on how to design COIL courses from the scratch, and without further ado, let's welcome Professor Jun Hyun. The virtual floor is yours, Professor. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. And also a nice introduction of myself, Dr. Wong. And it is really my privilege to be a keynote speaker in this privileged the conference. Well, in Korean universities, the COIL or virtual exchange is not well recognized yet, to be honest. There's only a few courses, as I note correctly, that being actually developed and implemented. Just a few. I just search it in my university also. There is only 2 courses in so-called the COIL courses. but the actually during pandemic period, it changes everything. And the Korean Ministry of Education also very keen to how can we Korean universities maintain international connectiveness. But they did not know the how to. And so actually the ministry asked me to write down the manual of COIL course development. And because I voice out very loudly and very seriously, very continuously to the ministry and also to the universities, these kinds of international virtual exchange is gonna be soon the key tools for the international education. So they replied to me, and so as Dr. Wong introduced, I wrote the manual book for the ministry about the COIL initiative. So this presentation is actually the summary of my manual, and also so this keynote is like a 101 of the COIL. So I dedicate my keynote to the novice of the COIL, like myself. All right. So when I talk about the COIL to the ministries, and also professors, and also administrators of the universities, they just asked me, why needed? Why COIL is needed? So I think the most important beginning is what is the background of COIL measures in the higher education. Well, actually, the cultural awareness and cultural competence are essential elements of today's world. The modern societies are becoming increasingly multicultural, as people from different cultural backgrounds live and work together. Still, many foreign people think Korea is still ethnically very uniform. That's true, compared to other countries. But if things changes in Korea, we are facing very serious population creep. You know what? The birth rate or fertility rate in Korea is the lowest in entire world. Not just OECD, among the OECD countries, entire countries in Korea, we have the lowest birth rate, which is last year we have a 0.72 birth rate. And so the government also is changing their mind. So they are very active now for the immigration. And so, things changes in the cultural awareness is getting more and more, the important for the education. Also, the Korea is also famous for the IT technologies. We have a very strong, the internet, the systems, and everything is connected virtually. But that actually means, it has become easier for people in various parts of the world to meet and share online. Actually, this conference is one good example. As Dr. Wong says, there are many audiences from many different, the cultural background and many different, countries. Yeah, that's right. Otherwise, in these kinds of IT technologies, it doesn't happen before. So these technologies have created networks and communities consisting of individuals from diverse cultural backgrounds, but who share common interests and purposes. Again, this conference is a good example. We have different cultural backgrounds, but we gathered here virtually to share common interests and purposes. So so helping students be the develop intercultural competencies is getting more and more important in higher education, where we know that the exchange programs, physical exchange program has been done, successfully in the past. That's true. It's still going on, in my university, still, every semester, 500 exchange students are coming in, and we are sending more than 400 students outside every semester. So this sounds good, but still, think about the portion. 500 every semester seems like a good figure, but still that is just 1 out of 10. So student exchange experience is at most less than 10% of total undergraduates. So student exchange program has a good advantage, but it has a limit, the inherent limit. Then what is COIL? As you might well, the COIL, the word COIL is actually created by SUNY, and according to SUNY, COIL Center's COIL definition, COIL is a model for fostering a cross-cultural students' competence through the development of multicultural learning environment that links to university or college classes in different countries. Still, there's some point is missing in this definition, so I'm gonna tell you what is missing here. Well, but the COIL, some says COIL, what is the COIL? But some says the virtual exchange, this is a virtual exchange summit or virtual mobility. Some European countries says a virtual mobility or collaboration or globally networked learning. I like this word also, globally networked learning. So actually, to elaborate the definition by the SUNY COIL Center, I just want to cite the 4 essential dimensions of a real virtual mobility, which is actually the written by the Witt, who is a very famous international education specialist. And so COIL in this case, the C means collaborative exercise of teachers and students. So the first very essential dimension of the COIL is collaboration. The second, we are using the online technology and online interactions. Third one, I means, these kinds of learning should have a potential international dimensions. It's not just a single domestic things. The last one is, I think this is not the least one, because this COIL should be integrated into the learning process, which means sometimes, the virtual exchange, some university in other countries, when I talked with the COIL, they say the virtual exchange is kind of the cultural exchange, but not just the cultural exchange. In the COIL, it should be, be immersed in the learning, process. So COIL in this case means collaborative online intentional learning. Okay. Also, when I also emphasize the importance of a COIL to the officials and the other colleague, professors, they say, okay, then if COIL is flourished, then it replaces the physical exchange programs. This is the first, misunderstanding that, because COIL is not designed to replace physical exchange programs. COIL is actually the complement. This is because the online learning environment, to be honest, cannot fully, guarantee the physical and the social interaction activities that occurs in traditional exchange programs. But I think this has also very good advantage because experiencing COIL before, participating in physical exchange program, which could significantly, enhance the effectiveness of physical exchange programs also. And even if the former, the director of our Center for Teaching and Learning, asked me that when I explains them the COIL, she said, okay, then the COIL is the MOOC or, just online, learning programs. Well, yes and no, because, we are using online programs, online learning, but this is not just online, lecture. Because, simply taking an online course is a one-way acquisition of knowledge and does not contribute to the enhancing global competence through the mutual exchange. I always emphasize that, so that just sharing online materials or sharing the teaching is not the entire body of the COIL. Some says, okay, so we have a teleconferencing. Then this is a COIL. If I just employ teleconferencing in my course, is that COIL? We are using teleconferencing for the actually sharing, but teleconferencing COIL is not itself just a teleconferencing. And another thing, some says a COIL is another platform. Do you have a COIL platform? Well, we don't need a COIL platform. I'm gonna explain later. And also software. Some says also COIL is a software. So how can I license it on that? No, COIL is not software. The various software tools can be used to effectively carry out the COIL programs. The final thing, this is also another headache because some said, okay, this is joint education program. Oh, good point. This is a joint education program. In that case, one, the administrator in our, the academic affairs says, okay, then is that a shared burden for the joint professors? So maybe you can have just a half credit for that. Oh, no. This is not only joint education programs. We actually having joint education, team teaching, co-teaching, but this is not the all. So when designing the first one, we should know the characteristics of the COIL very correctly. So the true nature of the COIL is this is a collaborative problem-solving team teaching. Okay, and also I think the second point is very important because it is a structures. The success of students in one classroom, in one university, is linked and dependent on the success in other classroom. So that means, two professors and two groups of the students should rely on each other. Just one group to lead the other one, and this is not the case. And another thing is sometimes in the pedagogy, they just want a structured one. In my university center for the teaching and learning, also sometimes they are likely to have some structured things. But I just emphasize them, the COIL is not just one manner, it's not designed to one size fit all manners because all the courses, all the learning outcomes are different. So it should be modified, customized. Where this is a SUNY COIL Center's, the famous, framework for the COIL program, course A, course X, and this COIL collaborations. And they have different languages and different disciplines, but the professors collaborate each other and students collaborate each other. And credits given to different, the institutions. And the COIL module, progresses stage by stage, phase by phase. The first phase is a team building. So we should, the professors should encourage students to introduce themselves to each other and engage in ice breaking. So this ice breaking is very important because the students, they are not, the familiar each other, not comfortable, feel very not comfortable. So they need the time to get to know each other. And the second phase is project planning. I think that this is phase 2 is very critical because we should facilitate discussions among students to explore comparative, the perspectives and help them plan the project what kind of project they will work together. And also, it is also very essential to provide students with clear instructions, what is task and what kind of collaborative tools, they will use, and also what could be the expected outcomes. Otherwise, students will not will be very confused, the why we should do, COIL, programs in my course. And also what could be the outcomes of this course. Because, students, not outcomes, outputs, we should be involved. We should, actually develop. Because, the real direct outputs, students are very much keen to. The phase 3 is, doing the collaborative project and problem solving together. And the final phase is it should have a presentation and also reflections. Reflections, this is about the contents itself, but also project process and also the intercultural aspect of the collaboration. What kind of intercultural, the learnings they have, something like that. And also, finally, this is optional, but I think it's better have in the feedback period. So for the COIL, syllabus design, so the designing COIL syllabus is this is the major things, when we are doing, COIL, the modules and COIL programs. I just, sort out, 9 components, 9 elements to be included in the COIL syllabus. The first one is partner institutions and courses. I mean, the syllabus should include, name of the partner universities, also name of the courses, and name of the professors in charge. That's for sure, right? And second one is learning objectives and outcomes. A clear description of the focus of the joint project, as I told you previously, what is the focus of the joint project in this case, and what could be the shared learning outcomes. And the third thing is also very important, I think. What is the relations between COIL modules, the learning objectives, and overall, course learning objectives? If it is not given to the students, the relations, then students might also think, okay, COIL module is in my course, but it is kind of extra things to my course, or this is kind of addendum. So we should clearly connect how these, COIL modules, learning outcomes or objectives are related overall, course, the learning outcomes. And as I told the learning outputs, what kind of learning outputs are finally, students will be engaged is very important in the syllabus. And the next one is the duration. I mean, because in a COIL module, the duration of the COIL module, it does not need to be the same as the entire course duration. So we should, what kind of weeks? I mean, from when to when, the COIL will be implemented, and how many weeks? I think it should be more than 5 weeks at least, because the COIL program starts from the ice breaking and the orientation, so it will take 1 week for the real problem solving projects, and they need a time at least 3 weeks. So for the presentation is 1 week, so at least 5 weeks. And learning environment. Actually, every university has a different tools and different environment for the learning. The classroom environment is also different. So it should have some agreement, what kind of the tech tools and classroom environments, is required for these COIL modules. But it doesn't mean, we need to have the same university-wide LMS platforms. Sometimes I found very difficulty in these kinds of LMS, because university has a different LMS and they have a different license, the agreement on contract on their own LMS. So instead, the platforms should be chosen based on mutual agreement from the professors, and the point is it should be easy to use and accessible to all the students involved. And learning schedule. This is a problem. I mean, the options of whether it should be synchronous or asynchronous is ongoing, the issues, right, in the core programs. Well, I prefer, synchronized, because it's easier to actually arrange. However, yeah, definitely some cases, time differences between participating universities. It is also possible, but I think we should design more, elaboratory in this case, because otherwise the students can think they are sometimes abandoned. So in that case, professors should monitor, the ongoing monitoring, online. But even though, the situation is the asynchronous situations, but at least I recommend, final presentation should be synchronous. So in that case, it can be adjusted each other, because it could be outside of their regular, course schedule. Evaluation grading. This is also very tricky one. Where, the students are very keen to the grading and evaluation. But some cases, the one university doesn't want to have non-credit, and they want, the non-credit programs for their core module, for their course. But in that case, I'm afraid, because the students actually involved in the core module with the non-credit scheme is not likely actually making an effort, same effort as the students with their credit the based module, I mean COIL modules programs. So in that case, because this is a core work between two universities, in that case, and the team, as a one team, the student might complain about the less efforts by the other part. So I prefer having evaluation systems for the COIL. But if even though this is non-credit programs, but students are willing to and also dedicated to COIL programs, then that'll be okay. And communication. This is about the language in the COIL programs. Well, in Korea, we have, in other countries, it might be a big problem, but in Korea, we have sometimes a very big problem because English is not the famous, fluent language in Korea yet. So, but still, emphasize, that we need to use a single language for this. But outside the period when the COIL module is being conducted, it is not mandatory to use English throughout the entire course duration in my case. And student support. In the COIL module, because students are from different universities, so it is very necessary regarding how assignments will be submitted and how course guide is really provided, something like this. So this is also should be agreed between professors. So these 9 things at least should be included in the syllabus. And some says technology, what kind of technology should be used for the COIL? There are many different things. For the LMS, as I told you, my university is using Canvas, and some universities are using Blackboard. Some universities are using Moodle. They are not exchangeable each other. But so it doesn't matter actually, because Google Classroom or Slack is also good alternatives for the LMS. So in that case, we just skip from our own university system sometimes. There are many different kinds of technologies for this, but I think the major consideration of adopting technology is this. First one is alignment to the learning activities. What kind of learning activities you are actually designing for your course? This is related to required technology. So this is, I think, the most important consideration for you for actually selecting technology. But there's a very simple rule, because it should be not that much complex, not that much expensive. It shouldn't be fancy, but the least complex option is the best one, I think. But still, there's a key concept, additional considerations like this. Some cases, university policies. Some universities has restrictions on the using specific, the tools because of the license problems. In Korea also, some, the apps or some, softwares are not allowed to use, on campus. So we need to check these kinds of the limits. The privacy problems, where in Korea also we have a very high level of privacy protection, So this is also very important. And it should be the technology should be ease of use, and also immediacy is also important, because whether we can provide rapid responses or that the asynchronous space, it can actually take place over several days or weekends. So this is also another considerations. And bandwidth is also very important, because in some cases on campus, off campus situations different for the students. And the availability. I also checked with sometimes Chinese universities, also Chinese students, they said, for instance, the messaging app in Korea, the most famous thing is so-called KakaoTalk, which is not that widely used in other countries. But actually KakaoTalk is not available in China because this is restricted. It's something like this. And for the operation of COIL programs, actually, in my case, I think this is a triangular, the co-efforts is very necessary. The faculty should prepare for the design everything, and the student also should know what is their responsibility for the COIL module. And also university level, university itself has some considerations on COIL. I'm going to explain that the next part a little bit in detail. But I think in Korea, as I told you, the university is not the familiar with the COIL, and they think this is it requires extra efforts and very the budget. It requires a budget. So I asked my the Korean Ministry of Education is very seriously that we need, the university should need some kind of financial support, to initiate these kinds of things. Actually, I found that the Japanese, Ministry of Education, actually at the initial stage, they are actually the funding the universities to develop these kinds of programs. So this can be a good help for them. But as a university level, we have the governance for the COIL programs and university-wide. The first one is setting a vision, because the university vision and overall learning goals should explicitly include the necessity of global learning. So degree of students' international competencies should be measured as a key education outcomes. In that case, COIL program will be a valuable tool for that. And also, it is desirable to have, COIL management office. It could be international office, or it could be a center for teaching and learning. But sometimes they are just, actually tossing each other the responsibility, right? That's the case of my university, to be honest. And or at the initial stage, establishing the office is not too immature. So in that case, we can have a subdivision, but at least we should have a responsible person for this from the university level. And more desirably, they are not just a university level, academic unit level. We need also the college should have some officers for the COIL module, and also department level. There should be a champion of the COIL programs also. So finally, not only just the governance, university should consider the support for the COIL programs. There are three different things for faculty. Where designing and implementing COIL courses requires much more time and effort in preparation. As a professor also, the designing my COIL courses, it sometimes it's very hectic. And this is extra burden. And also, this is not just the preparation. The post-activity evaluation is extra things. And sometimes the feedback is also extra things compared to the traditional lecture-based courses. So it's necessary to provide certain support to motivate faculty involved in COIL courses. The COIL courses, the faculty is the key element. If the faculties are not, does not have willingness to actually involve COIL courses, then it does not succeed. So this support could include recognizing additional lecture hours based on the method and duration of a COIL module, or simply provide financial compensation. Also, the four courses also, in my experience, the classroom should be proper for actually implementing COIL courses. So universities should prepare the proper classrooms for this. And the second thing is the class schedule. As I told you, sometimes we need the synchronous, the programs, and then we have to adjust each other between different time zones. So university should prepare for should give the priority for the core courses when assigning the class times. For the students, for the grading systems, I'm not sure, the other, countries have the same system though, but in Korea, every university has a grading system for the relative, grading systems. But it is a really big problems for the students because the collaboration is heavily, emphasized in the COIL module. So it may be more appropriate to use absolute grading systems so that the encourage, collaborative activities rather than, the enforce, competitions, between, among the students. But it is not easy because, the major, system is relative grading system. So we need to get the some the other schemes for that. Also, to encourage the students' participation during the initial phase, they could be beneficial to collect and publish COIL course participation testimonials. I think this is also very helpful for the students. Actually, students are also afraid of having a new model for their courses. So sometimes, they award the prizes to the outstanding, students in COIL module, something like that. And so, because still many, professors think the virtual thing is not enough. So in that case, we can develop the hybrid COIL module because this is like this, we have some in-person collaboration as a short term, as offline programs, as a kickoff for the COIL project. And during the semester, we have a COIL or virtual exchange programs as online. And after that, we have another offline, the short-term period for the wrap-up programs. So this is ice-breaking team building, and then Azure group activities and problem solving as a capstone, presentation, something like this. So this could be expanded to the hybrid TNE programs, and sometimes we can use these kinds of schemes to the collaborative, micro campus programs, something like this. So this is expansion of the COIL models. Okay, I think this is all about. Yep.
Thank you so much, Professor Hong. Because of time, we will try to answer the question that we have from the bottom of our heart. Okay. I encourage participants, please feel free to put in your question from the Q&A. And for the privilege of time, I would like to ask the first question. Professor Hong, I like the idea you motivate students with some prize. And prizes and also testimonial. Can you elaborate some more? What are some successful things that you think is relevant to the topic and then to the student group?
Oh, yeah. Well, this testimonial is I think I just blamed a little bit about my university center for teaching in my presentation, but the one good thing I think our center for teaching and learning is doing well is they are all the time um, um, the making the short film about the testimonials of the students. After the programs, the students appeared in the video, and they just testimony, what kind of benefits and what kind of insights and what kind of competencies they actually have after the class. And so this is really good things to show them the other students who are still afraid of being involved. And also, our center are also soliciting kind of contest. Well, I don't want to say contest, but they just soliciting kind of after record from the students, why. That's right. And also they students recommend, their course is a very good course, something like this. So that in that case, the prize is given to the students also, if selected. But still, this is a privilege to the faculty members also. So this is two ways.
Money in terms of coffee or coupon, ice cream coupon, or as you say, students selected best.
Not just the one cup of coffee,
Make it a little bit more grand. Okay, okay.
That's right. At least 10 cup of coffee.
More than a coffee with a token of thanks.
That's right.
Students' recognition from peer review will be a good encouragement. And we are so privileged that Olga, one of our participants, say, how do you assess each student contribution to the project? Especially when the student work in teams. So not all students may be equally motivated to be actively involved. You have any suggestion?
Yeah, that's ongoing problems, my rule is if this is one team, I just, evaluate as the same scores because, grading is not entirely based on the project itself because there's other factors. So anyway, they can be differentiated each other. But for the team effort, I always, during the COIL modules, I always keep talking to them. This is collaboration. You should, collaborate with each other. If we have some problems, let me know. And then I can be intervened to actually facilitate the collaboration each other. So I prefer giving them the same scores for the teamworks.
So would maybe the faculty's role is to keep reminding this teamwork require collaborative effort. I see. Thank you so much. So this is
one other tip is sometimes students complain about because my team I belong to, the team I belong to is kind of not that excellent compared to other team, right? So when I actually formed the team, I did that myself. I didn't give the students their willingness for the team because I just actually evaluate many things of the team members, whether their gender, their grade, and their previous the efforts and something like that. I try to make it even.
Yeah, make it even and fair, but also be transparent to share their work.
Sure. Yeah, sure.
as they show in their presentation. And because of time, we would like to at least have one more question. And we noticed it from Dr. Connie Lee, what strategies can teachers use to promote productive discussion among the student during COIL? Because there are several weeks, right? So what type of strategy will work to promote that? Especially when the teacher participation is not possible throughout the entire discussion. We want the student to take initiation and also take credit for their discussion.
Yeah, this is also very great. I mean, the questions. So when I, initiate discussions for the students, I actually list up the kind of the tips or keys for the discussions. Okay, so that they're not deviating from the themes. So I gave them the list of the key factors for the discussions.
So you throw them some keywords to start initiate the discussion.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. So at least they have something to start with.
That's right. And also, they are always, anytime they can raise their hands or give me the notes about the questions. And yeah, this is kind of the interconnected all the time. Yeah.
That reminds me, Professor Hong, when you said earlier that you want students, the participant, to really recognize the characteristics of COIL. It's not something else. Right. So maybe that could be something that they really want to understand, the characteristic and the interest part, so that they can really get the essence in their mindset. To be open, not just intercultural, not just learning, but the process during all those
experiences. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's very helpful. Thank you so much. And we have to end by 6 in a few minutes, and it's so much of a privilege that we can have you. And I would like to encourage all the participants to fill out this feedback form, either from the link we sent earlier or from this QR code. And most importantly, thank you so much for Professor Hong's time today. And then this 101 course, I think definitely we have a lot of food for thought to further. And definitely cultural exchange, global citizenship is something that we want students in university, they must go through this. Otherwise, they don't get into that international world and the global village. Thank you so much. And
Thank you.
our usual way to say thanks is with our hands clapped together. Thank you so much. So we can leave here, and don't forget, we have one more panel to go on. So please, I encourage you to join. In 10 minutes, it's gonna start. Oh, actually, it's in 3 minutes. Okay. And Professor Hong will see you around. Okay. And then for participants, we can see you with more keynote tomorrow as well. So thank you for joining. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Keep moving on.
Thanks.